The South African Municipal Workers Union says it can't wait to see the back of the City of Johannesburg's Mayor, Dr. Mpho Phalatse. The union says a vote of no confidence against the mayor will soon be tabled at a council meeting. It has also welcomed the axing of Council Speaker Vasco da Gama last week.
Samwu is the biggest trade union in the city of Johannesburg. Now it's calling for the removal of Joburg Mayor Dr. Mpho Phalatse. It says that's because the DA-led administration continues to display arrogance and it doesn't consider the needs of workers in the metro. Samwu adds that the future of their members depends on the mayor leaving office and being replaced by someone who will take into consideration issues that affect the workers.
We want to make it categorically clear that as a workers' organization, our primary preoccupation is not which political party leads the city, but rather which one works for workers and residents alike. We have noted further that there are talks amongst political parties to put forward a motion of no confidence in the mayor. Councillor Mpho Phalatse, if us as workers we are allowed to vote, we will obviously vote out Mayor Phalatse.
This week, 7 political parties who are part of the coalition government in the city of Johannesburg took matters to the police. They opened a case of corruption and bribery against some ANC representatives in the council. It's alleged that they tried to bribe IFP and Patriotic Alliance councillors with 150,000 rand to vote with the ANC in removing Council Speaker Vasco da Gama through a vote of no confidence. Samwu says it is not concerned about that.
We are not concerned if whether it's an Action SA, ANC or which councillor. We are a worker, we are a national worker union. Our primary concern is municipal workers in the main. So the bribe and what they do, whether it's their gimmicks in council, it's none of our issue.
As the uncertainty on the future of the Joburg Mayor Dr. Mpho Phalatse continues, the biggest union in the municipality, Samwu, says all what it wants to see is progress when it comes to a mayoral candidate that will be elected, considering the issues that are raised by workers in the municipality and thus enhance service delivery across the city of Johannesburg. They're saying that whoever takes over as the mayor needs to make sure that the interests of the workers are put first. Abongile Dumako, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Let's discuss this further now with the AIC Joburg Councillor as well as Minority Bloc Chair, Cllr Margaret Arnolds, and DA Gauteng Provincial Chairperson Fred. Now, thank you so much to you both for your time. I'll begin with you, Councillor Arnold. The DA laid charges claiming there were bribes here that were paid to secure the votes that saw the ousting of the Speaker. How do you respond to that? Were the councillors paid for votes? Councillor Arnold, I think you are on mute.
Okay, sorry, I was on mute. Good evening to you, good evening to the listeners, and also good evening to the DA leader. Who was bribed? And who bribed who? That is a question that we're asking. Because as the minority bloc, we didn't bribe anybody. All we did is we went and we spoke to people and we asked people to vote with us. We put our case and that was it. Remember, this comes from February. So all of a sudden now that the vote was carried, now we bribe people. When the vote was not carried, there was no bribery involved. So I don't know who was bribed and who bribed who.
So you know nothing about claims that 2 ANC councillors may have bribed some of the councillors to vote for the motion?
No, I don't know. And my other question would be, why would the ANC bribe people to vote for a minority bloc vote? Why? Why would they do that? It was our motion. It was not an ANC motion.
Mr. Nell, do you have a response to that?
Well, the evidence is very clear, and that's why we went to the police, because we received affidavits from a number of councillors who were approached and offered bribes to vote. And as you know, a number of our coalition partner councillors actually voted for the motion of no confidence against the instructions of their national leadership. So we believe that there is definitely something going on here, and we asked the police to investigate this matter because we think it is very, very serious.
And Samwu, this morning, I'm not sure if you did manage to catch that briefing. It says that the DA in the city of Johannesburg is acting like the alpha and omega in the city. And this is a multi-party agreement, but it almost behaves like it's in charge of this particular agreement. How do you respond to that?
No, we're part of a coalition. We are the leading partner in that coalition. And we manage that coalition according to a coalition agreement. I do think that the voters out there and the residents of Joburg do expect of us to be assertive as a government, and that is definitely what we are. We are elected to lead, and that's definitely what we're doing. And I don't think that should be confused with any form of arrogance. It was a mandate given to us, and that's a mandate we're executing within the government in Joburg.
And Councillor Arnolds, when I'm listening to that, the DA says that they're leading in this particular coalition agreement, and they are doing everything by the book when it comes to this particular agreement. But there are some who are saying that the DA seems to try to impose themselves here. What exactly is going on?
Well, we are not part of the coalition.
Yes.
As you will hear that we call ourselves the minority opposition parties or minority opposition bloc. But the people in the minorities that are part of the coalition, why they voted with us is because they were treated like second-hand people in the coalition. They have no say. They have to listen to what the DA says. And it's not surprising, because we even know that happens within council. That is the reason why we brought this motion into council. Councillor da Gama, Vasco da Gama, has flouted every rule in the rule book. He has rewritten the rule book. He has even at times when there is chaos, when he needs to ensure that council doesn't carry on, he then leaves council to carry on with people fighting each other, with people dancing around. He carries on with the meeting instead of collapsing the meeting. The last meeting we had, council meeting we had, the Gama actually made an item pass, and the Gama said the yeses have it, and it was chaotic. It was chaotic, and that is the reason why we brought back that motion. Because we cannot have a speaker that is a speaker action as a debate. They said, yes, we are unhappy with the things that the speaker does, but we will let it slide for now. And so, as far as we are concerned in the minorities, we don't know what happens there, but from what we hear in the outside and what people are saying that are part of the coalition, they are complaining.
And Ms. Arnolds, before I move to Mr. Nell, just to respond to what you're saying, I know you're not part of it, but surely, because if they were to, now voting with you, they're supporting this motion, they are telling you stuff as you've just told us now. In your view then, because you are in conversation with these particular individuals, and we're also seeing Samwu saying that they're not done, there will be a motion of no confidence against the mayor. They cannot wait to see the back of the mayor because they believe that she's not working for the people of Johannesburg, so they claim. Then in your view, when it comes to this particular motion against the mayor, where do things stand? Because we know there was that process that was then hit with a technicality.
Okay. The motion, I am the proposer of the motion. And the motion will come back. The fact of the matter is, ever since the mayor has come in as the mayor of the city of Johannesburg, and she actually got in with the 29 votes of the EFF, and the EFF now are really, they don't even want to hear about the mayor. They voted for her, but today they are very much against her. But let me continue by saying, since she came in, she's been paying legal fees for the 130 workers, for the for Sabia's case, for Vicky Shopping's case, for the case of other 500 workers, and for senior officials that has been purged by her or there has been disciplinary against her. And one of the questions I asked in the meeting where Vasco was ousted is that can we have a report on all the legal fees that has been spent? Because it's only legal fees. We are sitting with a deficit of 2.5 billion in the city of Johannesburg, where they cannot even collect for rates and taxes. And that is the problem. Soweto is still waiting for her to come back and report back to her on memorandums that was left with
All
her.
right.
Areas like Eldorado Park, Soweto, Diepsloot, we're not getting attention.
So, Ms.
We
Arnolds,
are definitely not getting attention.
Pardon me for coming in there. I'd like to give Mr. Nell a chance to also respond because there's been quite a lot that has been said. Mr. Nell, let's start with, the allegations leveled against the former speaker now, Vasco da Gama, and now coupled with the mayor who, is accused of paying, legal fees and really not doing what is at the heart of what the city is supposed to be doing.
I think that Councillor da Gama is doing exactly the right thing in the Joburg Council meetings because the residents of Joburg don't want to see council meetings collapse. The residents of Joburg wants to see council meetings that start and end and take good decisions in their interest. And when other parties try and collapse those meetings, we can't achieve that. We can't take decisions in the best interest of the residents of Joburg. And that is irresponsible from the other parties who continuously try and collapse those meetings. That is unfair towards the residents of Joburg who are ratepayers and who pay the salaries of those councillors to continuously try and collapse these meetings. And there's even a constitutional court judgment in the Tronic case that says that councillors must behave in a certain way and not collapse council meetings. So that is preposterous to say that when he refuses to collapse a meeting that he's acting irresponsibly. In fact, it's the opposite. He is acting responsibly in the interest of the voters of Joburg, and that is what he's doing. As far as the mayor is concerned, remember those 130 workers took the council to court, and therefore the council had to defend itself. And the council won every single court case. The correct decision was taken in dismissing those 130 workers because they were political appointments. They weren't normal, ordinary official appointments. They were political appointments. And it's very clear in most councils in this country, when you make a political appointment, the term of office of a political appointment comes to an end when the primary politician of that office when their term comes to an end as well. So when the mayor of Joburg's term ends, that means that the political appointments in the office of the mayor of Joburg, that those officials' contracts also end with her term. And that's a standard practice all over.
And pardon me for coming in there, Mr. Nell. Do you think, though, that Dr. Mpho Phalatse will survive a motion of no confidence against her?
Well, I'm confident that she will. If the coalition sticks together, I believe that she will. If there are other parties who want to vote her out and hand power to the ANC, then they will have to go and explain that to their voters in the next election. And they must take whatever comes towards them in terms of what their voters decide, whether they agree with them or not. If we are serious about turning Joburg around, keeping the ANC, the corrupt ANC out of the administration, then we've got to keep the DA and its coalition partners in government.
What is the status of the coalition right now? Because there have been reports that are suggesting trust issues. Now the speaker is out and your mayor is facing a vote of no confidence. The multi-party agreement appears to be falling apart. What is the state of that coalition?
I think if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said that the coalition is under threat. But I think that the coalition, especially after this motion of no confidence, hasn't been stronger ever before. It's the strongest that it's been since we have entered this coalition. I think the coalition partners I know that the coalition partners are totally committed to this coalition. There's been several meetings with the national leadership of the various parties, and everybody's committed. Those parties whose as councillors voted for the motion of no confidence are taking strict action against those councillors, and we expect them to do that as well. So they're all committed, and I think that it's the strongest that the coalition has actually been since we started out.
All right, let me thank you both for your time. Unfortunately, we have to leave it here, but thank you so much to you both. That's AIC Joburg Councillor and Minority Bloc Chair, Councillor Margaret Arnolds, and DA Gauteng Provincial Chairperson Fred Now.